This new DOJ report on the origins of the Russia probe has uncorked all kinds of pieces of evidence and news. And here's one that hasn't gotten much attention, but bears down on one of the most salacious things ever rumored about Donald Trump, which is really saying something. Those unverified rumors that maybe he could be blackmailed by Putin over a tape of activities that either did or did not occur in a Moscow hotel. Well, we have news on this tonight. Now, let's remember how it all started, morphing from a kind of political intrigue to, at times, a national joke.
All eyes on a breaking news story involving the president-elect Donald Trump and an allegation of compromising intelligence in the hands of the Russians.
Donald Trump didn't seem to care much about Russian election meddling, but cared a lot about Russian prostitutes. Oh, my God, it's real.
It's soaked in history. It just washes over you.
But here's the thing. For all the talk about this alleged tape, I bet you've heard about it, virtually no evidence came forward in public to corroborate it. It sounded like gossip drawn from this unverified dossier, which, remember, wasn't drafted for public consumption, let alone fact check. Now, what's new? The DOJ report detailing the dossier claimed the Russians had this file on Trump's alleged sexual activities that occurred allegedly while in Russia, and this alleged tape of him with allegedly prostitutes at a presidential suite at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Moscow. That's a major claim. Just releasing it can really hurt a public figure, and none other than James Comey went and presented the claim to Trump, stating it was unverified, and then, far less defensively, Mr. Comey, after leaving government, went public with that story in his book and on his book press tour.
I'm about to talk to him about allegations that he was involved with prostitutes in Moscow and that the Russians taped it and have leverage over him. I did not go into the business about people peeing on each other. And he interrupted, started talking about it. Do I look like a guy who needs hookers? I didn't answer that, and then I just moved on.
Now, today at the hearing, Lindsey Graham brought up how the report debunks the idea this tape ever existed.
Trump's alleged sexual activities at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Moscow was rumor and speculation. In the report, it suggests that a Western employee of the Ritz-Carlton confirmed this escapade by then private citizen Trump. When he read that, he says, that's not true. I never told Steele that somebody working for the Ritz-Carlton confirmed this. I heard it at a bar.
And the report notes this dossier, while it had many things that were true, also misstated and exaggerated sections of reporting, and that Trump's alleged sexual activities, which was stated at one point as potentially confirmed in the dossier, was not, as you just heard there. Sources telling the FBI the Moscow hotel story was, quote, rumor and speculation. You hear a lot about facts these days. This may have been a small matter, but it got a lot of attention. And this is a part of the DOJ report people need to reckon with. There was no verification. Mr. Comey was out over his skis in public, at least. And in fairness to those involved, the dossier didn't seem to have perfect sourcing on this very unverified claim. And we want you to know the facts. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.